Hey, folks, welcome back to the show. Today's episode is about travel hacks, and it's specifically about things that I take when I'm traveling. It is the middle of November. Everybody's starting to do a lot more traveling for the holiday season, whether it's Thanksgiving or end of the year celebrations, whatever it is that you celebrate. This is a time of year when people get together with their friends and their family, and we're often sleeping in a bed other than our own. And I don't know about you, but definitely, we'll be doing other episodes about food hacks and things like that. But when it comes to travel and I'm not in my own bed, there are certain things that I need to have with me to ensure that I'm able to sleep and recover and offset the stresses and strains of travel. So let's start with sleep, because sleep's a big one. If you can get a good night's sleep, then life is good. Everything is better, right? We know that our metabolism behaves better. Our mood is better. Our ability to do whatever we need to get done gets better. Everything gets better with a good night's sleep. So what are the things that I will not leave my house without when it comes to sleep? So there's a few things. There is a pillow that the name is escaping me at this very minute. It will come back to me. It's called the Sleep Crown. Okay, so the Sleep Crown is something that I used a lot over the years. I don't travel with it as much these days because I have a couple of other tools that I use instead. However, for those of you who love the feeling of your head swaddled in a beautiful cushion, the travel version of the Sleep Crown pillow is a game changer. It's super light. It's shaped to go over your nose. It blocks out the light. And to some degree, it also even blocks out the noise if you wrap it around your ears. Now, it's not great if there's a ton of noise, but as long as where you're going is not super hot, it's a really great solution. Unless, obviously, if you have great air conditioning, then the heat's not an issue. But if you're flying to a place that's tropical, let's say, and they don't have great air conditioning, or you think you run hot, then you may not enjoy having something over your head quite as much. But for those of you who think you might like that, it's super, super light. It's super soft. It's amazing. So it's the Sleep Crown pillow. The other thing that currently, instead of a Sleep Crown, what I use is an eye mask, like a really good silk eye mask. The one I'm using right now is made by Blissy. It's pretty expensive though. Honestly, you can find really good silk eye masks on Amazon for not a ton of money. And they will do the trick of blocking out the light and making it that no matter what's going on in your bedroom, it's dark for you. There's a big school of thought that says any light in the room is going to be a negative. I think the science on that is still up and down a little bit. It's better if the room is as dark as possible. So one of the hacks that I will have with me quite often is I'll have a roll of black electrical tape. That's right. The kind you would buy at a hardware store. Nothing high tech about these folks. But what you do is if there's lights in the room that really irritate you, like the lights on a TV, for example, assuming that you can't reach the plug to pull it in the first place, you can just cut a little piece of tape and plop it on. If your air conditioning lights up at night, lights up your room as they are wont to do, little piece, like a chunk of electrical tape on that will knock it right out. So black electrical tape is amazing. The next thing is I never go anywhere without my noise canceling headphones. And there's a bunch of reasons why I have those. So number one, if you're trying to get to sleep and you're in a noisy house or you're in a downtown neighborhood or whatever, there's lots of ambient noise around you. Having a good pair of noise canceling headphones is a total game changer. Now, I've talked about these before. People ask me about them. I do not know what model I have. All I can tell you is I have a pair of Sonys that give me the option to use them wired, plugged into my phone, or wireless. The noise canceling feature is different than just regular over-ear headphones. I just actually was sitting in the airport yesterday and talking to these two random ladies in Puerto Plata, and we were talking about noise canceling headphones, and one of them said, "Oh yeah, I have over-ear headphones, and they kind of block out the noise." I said, "Yeah, let me show you what noise canceling headphones can really do." I put my headphones on her head, tapped the side just to activate them, and you should have seen the look on her face. She was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. So real, true noise canceling headphones are a thing. So they go over your ears and they literally cancel out the noise. So I use them for sleep if either there's too much, well, definitely if there's too much noise in the room. The second time I use them, I also use them to do New Calm. Now, New Calm is an app that I interviewed the founder or the CEO, James Poole, I want to say in the summer of 2022, maybe. And it's an app that basically combines binaural beats with music. They have a series of different programs, with an increasing number of programs actually these days. And, but specifically, if you're sleep deprived or if you're on an overnight plane ride, listening to New Calm tracks is the bomb. There's nothing like it. I was sitting with my retreat partner, Dasha Maximov, one day, actually it was after the retreat, and I was literally falling asleep on the couch. I was so tired. And we said, okay, 20-minute power nap. So I run upstairs, I put on my headphones, I plug it into my phone for the New Calm power nap, which is literally a 20-minute power nap. You put on one of their biosignaling discs on your wrist. I was out. 20 minutes later, I come back to the world, as it were, and I powered through the afternoon. It never ceases to amaze me how powerful this app is. So you can use the 20-minute power nap, or they have longer sessions that I will use when I'm sitting on a plane. Like yesterday afternoon when I was flying home, I hadn't slept much the night before, and I was able to do a 50-minute New Calm session on that plane. And then after that, I was able to get to work and get a bunch of work done. So I really, I recommend New Calm if it's the kind of thing that calls to you. All you need is a good pair of headphones and an app on your phone. There's no real hardware involved here. And then you get to use your noise canceling headphones for sleep as well. Okay, so we said an eye mask, we said noise canceling headphones. While we're still in bed, I'm going to talk to you about a silk pillowcase. And I use the silk pillowcase by Envy that was actually gifted to me recently. It is infused with copper. What's amazing about copper is it's antimicrobial, which is really great when you're sleeping on a pillow that many other people have slept on. Not to gross you out, but I'm just saying, right? So if you can get one of these pillowcases, any silk pillowcase is going to be amazing, because that's what I sleep on these days. And I find it's make a real difference to me in terms of temperature regulation, even though I've got my 8 sleep on my bed, which sadly, there is no portable version of this that you can take with you. So you have to live without it. But I will say that having a silk pillowcase is really great for temperature regulation. It's good for your hair, good for your skin. But when you add that copper infusion to it, you now have an antimicrobial version that is really, really, really an amazing thing to have when you're not in your own bed. What else? Blue blockers. You need to have blue blockers. Look, you got to have blue blockers when you're traveling. You need to have blue blockers when you're at home, but definitely when you're traveling, when you can't control the lights in the room. I mean, some people do travel with red lights, but it also depends on how heavy you want to travel, how much stuff you want to take with you. Light bulbs aren't going to cut it because they will break. Plus, you don't know what size socket you're dealing with. So I find blue blockers in this case to be one of the best strategies for managing the light you're going to be exposed to, especially if you're going to the bathroom in the night, you need to turn on a light or whatever. Having those blue blockers on, the darker the better, is really going to be a game changer. So the ones I'm using these days, I have a pair of raw optics, but my favorite really are my Swanwicks. And I have those from my podcast that I did with James in January, I want to say 2022. And then the other ones I have that I really like is I have readers from Viva Rays. So that allows me to read with my blue blockers on. So, which is actually a really good thing to be able to do at night. So travel or no travel, those are great to have. Okay. The 3 sleep supplements I will not leave home without. One of them is very new, but my staple, and I had taken a break from this supplement for quite a long time. I came back to it while I was traveling this time because I finally got my hands on a bottle of the original formula of Primadine by Oxford Healthspan. And I got to tell you guys, it is now irrefutable to me. It is without a doubt the best strategy for me to improve and increase my deep sleep is with the Oxford Healthspan original formula Primadine. For me, it hits the mark. So I can't promise you it'll hit mark for you, but I will not leave home without it. The second one, which is very new, and I just got given a bunch at a conference, just a bunch of samples before they even launched, and that is the new Triscriptions Tro-Z. I will say that for a lot of people, it's for most people, I would say that a half of a troche really does a good job. It does for me. I've had people on my retreat, because all the ladies at the retreat got some, and a few of them did beautifully on a quarter troche. A few did really well with a half. And then there's a very small percentage of people that it actually didn't work for them. So this is a really important point, right? Remember that no matter what I tell you is really great for me, it may or may not work for you. So just be aware of that. We all have different biochemistry. And for whatever reason, there were maybe 2 ladies that found that for them, they had a paradoxical reaction to it. We don't see that often. I ended up calling Scott Scher about it. And he said, we haven't seen too much of it, but it can happen. So just be aware of that. But in any event, for me, Tro-Z, this new one is amazing. So I said Primadine, Tro-Z, and the third thing, of course, is magnesium. Don't leave home without magnesium for any number of reasons. I mean, let's say your gut decides that it's not going to stop moving things out, if you know what I mean. You stop pooping, going to the bathroom. This can be a problem. If you have your bottle of magnesium breakthrough with it, you can just megadose it until you can get things going. It's great before sleep. It's great if, let's say, you go for a big hike and your muscles are a little sore and tired. You can bounce some magnesium. That'll help as well. So the cool thing when you're traveling is you want to take supplements and things with you that are multi-purpose. They're going to cover a lot of different bases. And magnesium breakthrough, because it has so many different kinds of magnesium in it, is that supplement. It's one of those supplements. It's just really, really good. And then speaking of supplements that cover a lot of bases, we of course have molecular hydrogen. So those of you who've been following me for a while know that I don't fly without molecular hydrogen. Ever. I just don't, right? Half an hour before the flight takes off, I take one. If I'm still on the plane an hour and a half later, I will take another one. And I will tell you that back in the day, my feet used to swell like nobody's business on the plane. And ever since I started using molecular hydrogen, while I fly, my feet don't swell when I'm flying anymore. So it's remarkable. But, I don't think they would say on their website to avoid your feet swelling, but definitely molecular hydrogen helps to mitigate the effects of non-native EMFs and radiation. And we are exposed to a lot of radiation when we're flying. So molecular hydrogen for me, plus it's the selective antioxidant. It's really good to have when you're traveling anyway. I use it every morning to take my supplements. The other thing, if you've been following me on Instagram, I've got this Heal capsule from Lila Quantum, and it's this little pendant. It looks a bit like a bullet, which is sometimes you have some explaining to do when you're going through security. And it helps to mitigate effects of EMF as well. Just really good for general well-being. So I like to travel with that. And then, of course, for my water, I have the Lila Quantum bottle, which helps to restructure your water. So it kind of gets that out of the way, unless you're one of the people that listened to podcast when I interviewed the guys from from Analema with the wand, right? That beautiful glass wand. So instead of the Lila Quantum bottle, if you don't want to buy another water bottle, you can get that glass wand, the crystal wand, and you can just stir your water with that, and that helps to structure your water. The nice thing about the bottle is it's not breakable. The wand is, although it's really well designed because it's got a metal cover that screws in, so it's pretty safe, but it's kind of like your preference, right? So you've either got this crystal wand which is beautiful, that you use to stir your water, or you can get the Lila Quantum bottle that's going to do the work for you. Moving on, another supplement I left home without this time and was very sorry that I had. So I'm going to tell you about it to make sure that you don't make the same mistake I did. And that is bring with you a good binder, like something like an activated charcoal. You never know when you're traveling, when you're going to come across something or eat something that's going to upset your stomach. Having charcoal on board to help bind up those toxins and move them out is invaluable. So never leave home without a good binder. Another thing you don't want to leave home without is a good probiotic. Okay. So a couple of options in that world. We have P3OM from Bioptimizers. If you want to do a one-stop shop, you can get your P3OM for Bioptimizers. That's a really nice probiotic to travel with. Or if you're more in the world of spore biotics, Microbiome Labs has a really good spore biotic you can travel with. And, or of course, there's the Gut Institute. Grace Liu has a beautiful Microbiome Mojo, which just covers all your big bases. So that's another good broad spectrum. If you're going to an exotic place that's known for issues with gut, then Genestra actually makes a really good traveler's probiotic. I think it's got Saccharomyces boulardii in it. And Saccharomyces boulardii is actually a yeast, and it is magical if you get traveler's diarrhea. Okay, so in the probiotic side, we have that family. Now, know that when it comes to probiotics, I don't recommend people take any probiotic all the time. I think that we should be cycling through our probiotics if we're using them. And we should, of course, get our gut tested every once in a while, see what we're deficient in or overrepresented in. That could happen too, and do the work of rebalancing. But those are the things I would travel with. Another thing to travel with, never leave home without, is digestive enzymes. Taking digestive enzymes, especially when we get older, we don't make enough of our own digestive enzymes, and that leaves us more susceptible to bugs. And also, when our circadian rhythm might be a little bit disrupted, we're not making as much digestive enzymes, and we can be more susceptible to indigestion, that kind of thing. So I really like Masszymes, but Masszymes does not have in it betaine HCl. So if you know you have some issues digesting protein, betaine HCl is another really good thing to have with you. The other thing to remember about betaine HCl is it is your first line of defense against bugs and microbes that make it into the gut, like things that you eat. So it can be another nice layer of protection. Okay, couple more supplements. And then I'm going to I'll get into a little bit of the beauty things that I travel with. So a couple more of the supplements. Another thing that I never leave home without these days anymore is a good oral BPC 157 with PEA. You can get that from one of two places. You can either get it from healthjev.com. And all of these products, by the way, are listed on my website under the Nat Recommends page. You'll find links to podcasts, links to buy, discount codes, the whole 9 yards. So I'm not giving you anything of that. I just want to tell you a little bit about what I take and why I bring it with me. So BPC 157 with PEA, really helpful if, let's say you end up with an injury while you're traveling. Right? You don't necessarily want to walk around with a bunch of syringes and worrying about reconstituting peptides. Plus, that's becoming a little more problematic these days. So I would say leave that stuff at home if that's the kind of thing that you use. Go to the BPC 157 and PEA. Also great if you're having gut issues, right? It's not going to kill bugs or anything, but you might take it prophylactically for the time that you're traveling, or you might just have it with you in case you get hurt, you have some kind of an injury. It's a great thing to have on hand. And then I also like to travel with my Ignite Plus, also by Healthjevity. And that's because it's that great blood sugar balancing formula. So if I'm going to be having a meal that is not a meal that I would normally eat, that is very high carb and or sugar and or all of those things, then I'm going to take my Ignite Plus before that meal to help balance my blood sugar. And then let's move on into skincare. So there's certain things, again, that I will not leave home without. So it depends on how heavy or how light you travel, right? So if you're traveling very, very light, some of these things are not going to make sense for you. If you have more space, you might bring more stuff. I got to tell you, like, all this stuff adds up. All this stuff, it piles on. So definitely having something like a supplement box like this, and you might have two of them. You might have one for your daily foundational supplements, and then you might have a second one in a different color with the more kind of niche things, so that you minimize the number of bottles that you're traveling with. So that's kind of a hack to use. But moving into skincare, I, at this point, will never be without my GHK Copper Serum. It's also protective a little bit of the sun. It doesn't act as a sunscreen, but it will protect from the more negative effects of sunlight. So when I would go for my morning sunrise beach walks, for example, in the Dominican Republic, when I was just there for the retreat before and after, I would put the GHK Copper Serum on my face, my arms, my chest, and Now, mind you, I was out early in the morning. I was literally watching the sunrise. I'd be out there till 8:30. But the sun is hot over there, you guys. And I never got burned. And I would go out again during the day. If I'm going to use a sunscreen, then the one that I use is Young Goose's Bio Shield, I believe it's called. It is the best sunscreen as far as I'm concerned. It is, first of all, it's tinted. It looks amazing. It does a great job of protecting you from the sun. It's a must have. Okay, so GHK copper. If you're traveling super lean, okay, like let's say you can only have like a couple of things with you. Another company to look at is Living Libations. Now, Living Libations is really well known for their essential oils. I did 2 podcasts with the founder, Nadine Artemis, a couple of years ago, I think in the summer, maybe last summer, possibly the summer before. We did one on oral health and we did one on beauty. I think the one on beauty was actually on the sun. And she has some products that are so powerful. First of all, they smell amazing. But let's say you could only have one bottle of one thing that you needed to use to remove your makeup, to moisturize your face, and that you could use as a body oil moisturizer. Then I would use her best skin ever, Immortelle. That stuff is amazing. So it's a beautiful blend of essential oils. I use it at night to remove my makeup, whether I'm home or traveling. I just moisten my face a little bit. I do a couple of pumps of the Immortelle, rub them on my hands. And basically what we're doing is we're oil cleansing our face. It takes your makeup off like nobody's business. And if it was the only thing you had, it would actually leave your face moisturized. If any of you are still using chemical makeup removers, I am recommending that you give this stuff a try because you'll never go back. Like all that stuff dries out your skin. It makes a mess of your face. This stuff nourishes your skin. On top of that, you can use it on your body. You can use it for anything. And Immortelle is a beautiful essential oil that's very healing. So that would be the one thing if I was really stuck, right? Otherwise, I will definitely bring my moisturizer, my eye cream. And you all know that I cycle through the Nathalie GHK copper line as well as the Young Goose line. So this time I had a mishmash of the two. And sometimes it's based on sizing. I'm looking for the smallest sizes of different things and the most versatile products. What else? For dental. Okay. Most people are like, why are you talking to us about dental, Nat? You bring your toothpaste and you're good to go. Yes. And Living Libations, again, has a product that is magical, especially if you happen to be prone to gum irritation and issues. She has this product called Happy Gum Drops. It comes in a bottle that's like, I don't know, 1.5 inches high or something. It's tiny. All you need is 1 drop on your dental floss. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. All you need is a drop on your dental floss. If you have any irritation on your gums, gone. It's incredible. I've never experienced anything like it before. It's the best. Also, if you're short on space, but even if you're not short on space, but definitely if you're short on space, her deodorant called Poetic Pits. It's that kind of company. Everything sounds pretty. Her stuff's amazing. Poetic Pits comes in different scents. My favorite is called Petals. It's like wearing perfume, only it's good for you. Her deodorant, the smallest size is, again, it's 1.5 inches high, little glass tube, and it lasts forever because you don't need that much of it. And it is amazing. So if you're short on space and you're looking for products that pack a punch and don't take up a lot of space, this place is your shopping space. So we've got the Poetic Pits. We have the Happy Gum Drops, which you can also use to brush your teeth if you want to. We've got the Immortelle. That's amazing for removing makeup and for moisturizing. And there's one thing I'm forgetting. There's one other thing I wanted to tell you guys about from her stuff. Oh, she's got a couple of essential oil blends that are antimicrobial and they're very healing. So I always have, like this time I had my frankincense and First Friend, which is like a first aid thing. I use that on my mosquito bites, of which I had many. And that was a really, really great thing to have with me. You can use it on cuts and bites and things. So again, it's tiny. It's like 1.5 inches tall. It's the tiniest little bottle, and a little bit goes a long, long way. Okay. That's it for personal care right now that I can think of. if you guys have any questions, make sure to you can post them. Where can you post them? You can reach out to me on Instagram. Instagram is the best place to ask questions. I don't always get to them every day, but I will get back to you. Or of course, if you want to ask your questions, I just came off a live Q&A on my Mighty Next Works group like half an hour ago. We spent an hour and a half together on a live Zoom call, jamming about all the questions that they had. And what's amazing about that community is it's not just me. There's lots of other really smart people in there, actually. Lots of practitioners who are always happy to jump in. And it ends up being this incredible round table. So if that speaks to any of you guys, you can check that out. Go to natnidham.com and look up the BSP community there. Okay, I was going to do something on fitness, but you know what? I think I'm going to leave fitness for its own for travel. But actually, no, I'm not. The thing that I didn't bring with me this time because I'm waiting for a new. No, Matthew, cut out that whole part on fitness. I'm not going to talk about fitness. I'm just going to pause for a second and gather my thoughts here. Actually, there's one supplement I forgot to tell you about that I traveled with for the first time this time, and I think it really helped me. And it's a new supplement to me. I just came across it recently. I don't even think it's on my website yet, but it's called Armra, ARMRA. It's a colostrum powder that is phenomenal. So again, when you're traveling, you're being exposed to new foods, you're stressed out, especially during the holiday season. We're not able to take care of ourselves. Colostrum is this beautiful product. It's natural product from cow's milk. Well, actually, it's produced before the milk is produced, but colostrum is incredibly healing for the gut. And these guys do such a great job. Now, I couldn't bring my plane with me because it was a big giant jar and I didn't want to have a big giant jar. I didn't have that much space. So they've got these little stick packs, little powders. The flavor is blood orange. And I traveled with that. It was phenomenal. You can put it in your yogurt. You can put it in, I'd probably put it in water, honestly, but I would put it in yogurt, or I would mix it with my greens powder that I had with me. And I would have that every day. And especially on the days when I wasn't eating as well, because I was too busy or I was on the run, just having that greens powder with the colostrum was a really nice kind of thing to have as a protective thing. Okay. I think I've been chattering for too long already. Hopefully this gives you some ideas. If you have any questions, reach out to me. And by all means, go, guys, if this episode is of use to you and value and you love it and you're feeling inspired, please do leave a review for the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to it on, because this is how the podcast grows. And of course, if you have any friends or family who would benefit from this episode, please make sure to send it to them. Last but not least, this will be released on the Friday that I'm at Dragonfly in Boulder, Colorado. The next event that I will be speaking at is John Lawrence's Elements of Vitality in Florida, in Sarasota, on December 8th. It's a one-day event. It's I'll be speaking, Karen Martell speaking, Dr. John Lawrence, Ben Azadi, Ben Greenfield, incredible lineup of people. And I think it's going to be really fun. It's very intimate. Only about 60 to 80 people go to these events. So for the people who come, it's a really great opportunity to network both with the speakers and other like-minded people. And also it's at John Lawrence's Mitozen Center, and they've got beautiful treatments and technologies there. So you can come in early and have some treatments. It's a really great event. So we'll put the link in the caption if you decide that you'd like to buy a ticket for that event, and you can use code NIDDAM, NIDDAM, and that will save you some money. All right. Without another nothing, thank you so much. Have an amazing, amazing weekend, and we'll see you again real soon.